And away we go for the invitational race for the Bathurst 1.2 hour. Can everybody get through turn 1 unscathed? Not a fueling issue, it's a tyre wear issue. Jeez, he might nearly be able to go to the end of the race here.
Yeah, he'll be able to do it for sure. Precious time loss.
Oh, that is not good. Plenty of defensive moves. Can he do the over and under down the outside? He'll be close. Oh, he's run wide in the pits. Oh, he's into the wall. Hamlin's going to pump it.
He's gone sideways there.
That is massive for the results of the race, and Hamlin would have to be rubbing his hands together.
Welcome everyone to this video. I've always loved those epic intros, you know, where they throw together little kind of teaser clips from the commentary. Thought that was kind of neat. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So as you can see, this is the 1.2 hours of Bathurst. I think a 12-hour endurance at Bathurst would probably break all of Gran Turismo's servers. Okay, so as you can see, I qualified in first. Pretty good stuff. I'm happy with that. If you can see a few cars jumping around, basically there was a little bit of trouble in the lobby with some people being invisible to one another, so it does happen occasionally, and you kind of see cars almost like racing inside one another, and it can kind of mess with the physics engine and stuff. Yeah, basically there was some problems with that. I think as the group sort of spread out, it did seem to help a little bit, but I think there were a few problems with that. However, in this race, for me, I didn't encounter any problems and I could see everyone, so that was happy days. And the battles basically end up between, they sort of become a bit of a three-way battle between myself, the Hemulin, who is another British racer, and Kraz, who is one of the Australian guys. So we'll kind of, yeah, we'll go into that, and there's lots of strategy. It's a long race, so I'll talk about what my strategy was, and having a little bit of a rough start there on this first lap, actually. I was starting to build up a little bit of a lead, and I probably lost half a second or so just bumping the wall there, but yeah, myself and the Hemulin and Kraz ended up having a bit of a sort of a three-way battle, all on slightly different strategies, which is interesting to see, and it's always yeah, it's always interesting to see how different strategies can work and which one might be faster in the end. I spent quite a lot of time practicing and working out and, you know, figuring out what I thought the best strategy was. And the one I went for is a two-stop strategy. So the tyre wear I think was on 3 or 4 times, the fuel wear again 3 or 4 times, I can't remember specifically, but around there, so slightly accelerated fuel and tyre wear. There's no restriction on tyres, and any Group 3 cars with balance of performance on. So as you can see, I'm in the Nissan GTR GT3 in the Team Oink livery with the special edition one with the Charlie Roscoe Bathurst logo on. I should actually just mention that actually, so Charlie Roscoe is another guy on YouTube who makes some Gran Turismo videos, some very good content on there. You guys should go check it out, and he was hosting this race and it was really good fun, so I just want to say thank you to him. But yeah, there'll be a link in the description to the full race replay, which was commentated and kind of put up together by him and one other who I'm afraid I don't know the name of. And they did a great commentary on the whole race. I had the commentary live in my earpiece, so to speak. I had that running on my PC whilst racing, so I could kind of get a little bit of a sneak idea of what was going on around me and on different parts of the track, which was quite interesting. And yeah, so anyway, as I said, interesting different strategies. So as I said, I'm going for the two-stop here. I'm starting on a split compound tyre, so I'm on racing medium on the front, racing soft on the back. Once you pit, they give you all of the same tyres. You can only ever do that right at the start of the race. So that was what I opted for, and that was mainly because the rears wear quite a lot slower than the front tyres on this track, this car. So I went with the soft on the back to begin with because I really wanted to get a good start. So on the two-stop strategy, you're basically splitting yourself down into 3 different stints, and I basically took a shorter first stint because I just wanted to go really strong, really hard, get as much of a lead as I could, and then kind of settle down from there. So that was kind of what I was aiming for. Now the Hemulin is on all racing medium tyres and going for a 3-stop strategy, so he doesn't have to worry too much about fuel, and Kraz was on a full burn, racing soft, again on a 3-stop strategy, but just really pushing those racing softs to the limit. So again, all on slightly different strategies, and this first stint of mine is going to end up being 11 laps. As you can see, Kraz just managed to overtake Hemulin and come up into second place, and he's now hot on my tail, and we've just broken away from the Hemulin a little bit there by about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, and I can see him in my rear view mirror. This is on board now with Kraz, and I can see that he's going a little bit faster than me, and he should be really, and actually having got first in my qualifying position, that really did help me out, because as I said, I was expecting there would be some people on the softs, and just listening to the commentary I was able to find out that Kraz was on the softs, so I knew that he was racing on the softs, and basically he needed to be out in front, gaining as much time as he absolutely could, because obviously he needs to get in more stops than I would have to. So I knew that he was going to be running faster laps than me, and I thought there's no point battling here, we're only both going to lose time, so I let him through, and there's, it gives me a couple of opportunities to get a bit of draft and save a bit more fuel and basically just bide my time. It's a long race, there's really no need to rush these things, and yeah, I think it's an important thing to remember in endurance racing. Unlike in short, sprint races, 3, 4, 5 laps, whatever it might be, even the 10 lappers from like Nations Cup, they're only 20, 25 minutes. This is, well, about 1 hour and 20 total length. So it's really about consistency, having a good strategy, sticking to that strategy, and just like performing consistent good laps. So yeah, there's really no need to rush passes, build up to them, take your time with them, and if you don't need to pass, don't pass, and if someone equally is behind you who you don't need to be battling them, just let them past, and that's kind of the key, I think, in these longer endurance races. So there's the 3 of us there, Hemulin falling just a little bit behind. As I said, I've got the racing softs on the rears, so my lap times should be slightly quicker than his. I was lapping a little bit slower than my quali times, just because, as I said, it's better to have that consistency than to go, completely all out, and that was kind of what I was focusing on. And the other thing is, don't forget that I am fuel saving a little bit here, so my first stint is going to be an 11 lapper, and my second and third stint are going to be 13 lappers to take me all the way up to lap 37. So I don't need to save as much fuel on this first stint, but the other thing you've got to remember is the more fuel you save, even if you don't need to save it, because I'm going to be topping up all the way to 100%, it means you can just have a shorter pit stop. So my general fuel strategy, the GTR generally is pretty good on fuel, but my general fuel strategy was mix 1 on the big straights and mix 2 up at the technical section at the top of the hill. So that was generally how I was able to save a fair bit of fuel. So Hemulin pitted at lap 7, we've just skipped ahead here, currently at lap 9, and he was 24 seconds behind when he came out of the pits there, and I was currently 2 seconds behind Kraz when he pitted on lap 8, so I know we're on lap 9 there, but so we had Hemulin pitted at lap 7, and Kraz who basically went into the pits when I was just behind him on lap 8. So I'm about 24 seconds ahead here, and then when I come into the pits at lap 11, obviously they've had a little bit of time to catch up on the fresh tyres. So I come in at lap 11, and I'm going to get a full fuel tank here, because I'm going to need every last drop that I can get, because I've got to do a 13 lap stint now, so it's going to be a long stint all the way up to race lap 24. And you can see now the guys are coming around. There's the Hemulin in first place, Kraz coming around in second place. They're going to let me out of the pit stalls here, and you can see Kraz just getting away from me on the straight there as we come back out onto lap number 12. Hemulin in first place, myself in Kraz in second, and myself in third. So Kraz is now 4 seconds behind Hemulin, and I'm similarly 2 seconds behind Kraz. So now, again, I'm on full racing mediums. Hemulin is also on the racing mediums, I think. Oh, he may even have gone to the racing hards at this point. I can't quite remember. And Kraz on the racing softs still. So at lap 14, Kraz is now 4 seconds away from me. So he's gained 2 seconds, which makes sense. He's on the softs, and he is caught up to Hemulin by 2 seconds. So there's still there's about a 6-second gap between myself and the Hemulin, and Kraz has just gotten away from me very slightly. Coming around on lap 17 now. We are jumping ahead fairly big leaps, otherwise we would be here for a considerable amount of time. So Hemulin goes into the pits then on lap 17, which leaves me chasing down Kraz, and as you can see, because he's on those softs, those tyres really start to perform poorly once they get to the end of their lifespan. So again, coming around at the end of lap 18, I'm basically level pegging with him as he goes into the pit. So this is going to give me a really nice big boost out in front. Okay. So don't forget that Kraz has got to do one more pit stop than me. He's going to come out in 4th place, actually, behind this guy all alone, who incidentally was actually racing fairly on his own for most of the race there. And here we are, just joining myself on board at the top of the hill on lap number 19. Lap times generally around the 2:04, 2:05 in the kind of early to mid stint, dropping down to 2:06s, and you know, on a bad lap a 2:07 just when those tyres are really starting to scrub down and not offer a whole lot of grip. So fairly consistent, but it's I think the main thing is if I could stay in the 2:06s, that was kind of, yeah, that was the comfort zone. First bit of lapped traffic then at lap number 20, and I don't think he saw me coming initially, but then did move over, and a fairly painless little overtake. Might have just lost me a couple of tenths, but no big deal. And then as we come around on lap 23, a bit of a decision. I could have gone in early there with more traffic ahead, so 9th place and 10th place. And you can see that dirty move there. He's just gone and taken out deliberately all of the brake markers. And that wasn't a joke. Literally all of those big brake markers were all gone. So we were all basically just having to guess where we were coming. Lap 24 then, I'm coming into the pits, and this is where it's all going to go wrong for me. I completely missed the braking point, partly because there were no bloody brake markers because someone had knocked them all off, and partly just because, again, really rubbish tyres and just me being a bit of a numpty, and I missed the braking point and I lose like 11 seconds, I think, just completely stuck on that pit wall. Then the stupid traction control that goes on when you're in the sand, and it wouldn't let me start again, and oh my god, it was all sorts of mess. So I was 8 seconds ahead of Kraz when I went into the pit lane, and I lost down about 10 seconds of that, and then really, yeah, so that was really rough. So as I come back out then on lap 26, you can see this is Kraz in 2nd place. He comes out of the pits, he comes out in 2nd place. Hemulin is now 7 seconds ahead of Kraz, and then I'm 27 seconds behind Kraz in 3rd place. Again, a little bit more lapped traffic there, coming around on lap 27. And then as we proceed again, Hemulin is going to pit here at lap 28, and that puts Kraz into 1st place. Hemulin coming out the pits there, and I'm in 2nd place, and I'm now 9 seconds behind Kraz. A little bit of traffic coming up the hill. I'm afraid I don't know the different areas of the track there, but I do manage to make a pass as he goes quite wide, so that was fortunate. I was definitely not looking forward to kind of getting slowed down in the traffic there. Lap 31 now, we're starting to close in on the finish. This is my final stint, obviously, half a tank of fuel left. Still in 2nd place. There's Hemulin a little way behind. He's just passing into lap 31 now, and I'm 6 seconds behind. Kraz has done his final pit stop, lap 35 now, so we've all done our final pit stop. I'm chasing down that 1st position. On lap 31, 6 seconds. Now I'm at 3.8 seconds to go with 2 laps remaining, and this is where it all goes wrong for me. As I'm coming around onto lap 36, you can see 2 guys who have got fresher tyres, in fact, Charge there, who literally just came out of the pits, very fresh tyres, and he was actually lapping fairly quickly, who comes out right next to me. And this actually kind of was a little bit frustrating. So Charged, who is a fairly quick racer so far as I'm aware, was having a rough race. I think he'd had some incidents earlier on in the race, and he had basically announced that he was kind of giving up on the race and he was just going to try and get a really good lap time. And the way he was doing that was pitting every other lap for fresh tyres. which basically just completely screwed me over, because on one of his pit stops he comes out there right next to me and going considerably quicker, and he just, I guess, didn't have the patience to wait for this. You know, I would have let him through on one of these straights, but he kind of rammed me, and I lost about 2 seconds, and both of these guys are now in between myself and Kraz, who, as I said, I was about 3.5 seconds behind with the 2 laps to go, possibly, and, you know, gaining pretty quick there, so I gained about 4 seconds on him over the, you know, about a second a lap, so that was looking like there was a possibility for me to catch up there, but after taking that hit, it started to look a little bit like it wasn't going to happen. So as we come round onto the coming up to the final lap here, I'm now 6 seconds back from Kraz, and Hemulin is only 5 seconds back from me. There's Mojo. So this is what I was saying. He was going quicker, had fresher tyres, but he was making mistakes all over the place, and he was kind of battling me for position. So I was really just put in an awkward position with traffic, because obviously I guess he's trying not to be in the way, but he's obviously, you know, he's able to go quicker than me. My tyres are completely run down to the bare minimum, but you can see little mistakes like that, and it's just, I guess he's lapped traffic for a reason, in the nicest of respects, but this is just a very awkward position for me, and I'm not really sure what more I could have done. I was, again, letting him go in front, and I was just losing buckets of time. You can see my last lap before the traffic was about a 2:06.9, then I got a 2:09 on that lap, and my final lap is actually going to come in at a 2:12, so I lost about 6 or 7 seconds, maybe even more, 7 or 8 seconds to the lap traffic, and that just really caused me a big problem. Coming over the top of the hill now for the final lap, I'm just trying to do everything I can to keep the Hemulin far enough behind me that I can finish this race out in second place. Lap traffic still just a little bit ahead of me there, but I've got a bit of breathing space. I just need to really nail these last few turns, and you can see in the mirror he is just coming up behind me now in the Aston Martin. I think he's just within slipstreaming distance there. You can see my fuel and my tyres on absolute bare minimum here, coming into the final lap, and I was just, right, what can I do to keep myself in the lead? His tyres were considerably fresher than mine. As I said, he was on that 3-stop strategy, so had a lot fresher tyres. As you can see, he's right up onto my bumper, coming up to the final turn now. A car out in the dirt there, and I'm going to go, he's right up behind me, so I go for the defensive line on the left-hand side. Fairly good exit, and then as I come out to the right-hand side, just lose the car, and then I block him off, and I felt like that wasn't really a fair manoeuvre, so I'm going to just let him through, and Hemulin takes second place. Kraz is the winner, and here's that again, so you can see I take the inside line, it's looking good. I think I had the run there, and I just lost the back end and veered across the road. That caused him to just get caught by me, so I just let off the throttle to let him through there. I kind of felt like he deserved to take that second place there. He battled really well to catch up, and that was just a mistake from me that prevented that from really happening. So very close there, but after an hour and 20 minutes of racing, the Hemulin finishes just 5 seconds behind Kraz, who won in a very good race there from him, and then I was, you know, just right in after Hemulin, just letting him through on the final straight there. So really good racing, and I just want to say thanks again to Charlie Roscoe for putting on this race. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought it was a very exciting race and a little tricky to keep up with. I know we're skipping around a lot, but it was a long race, so I just tried to pick out the highlights. And just a few incidents there, you know, I lost at least 9-10 seconds to lap traffic in the last couple of laps, and I lost a good 10 seconds to my own damn fault on the pit lane. Had that not happened, I probably would have avoided all of that traffic, and, you know, I would have been probably 5-10 seconds ahead of Kraz at the front there. But that's how these races go, and that's why really getting your consistency is the key. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.